tonight we are extremely honored to have a guest who has quite a story for us. All right, Miss Lene Harris started from extremely humble circumstances to build a real estate empire. And she's going to tell us how she started from, would it be fair to say started from rock bottom? She started from rock bottom and achieved financial success by building up a real estate empire. So let's give her a warm welcome. Without further ado, Ms. Lene Harris.
Thank you guys. I'm excited just to be before you. So I want to give it back to you guys as well, just for showing up. That's 80% of everything that we always say we're going to do. You know, how many of us say I done bought all of the Carlton sheets, the no money down, so this to that. You know, so that was my story. I pretty much did it all. Before I got into real estate, I was just this young girl that just wanted to be successful, right? I just wanted to be successful. I had no clue of what I wanted to do with my life. Not a clue at all. So it's fair to say from the rock bottom, bottom up, whatever you want to call it. I got my first house for $1 with a nuisance and abatement program. And I was in college at WC3, just a community college, still no direction, didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And my aunt told me about this dollar program, which of course they don't have anymore, but there are some great, amazing programs that are still out there. So the nuisance abatement program, I get my first house for $1, and I'm in this property. I'm going around to garage sales. I'm basically scraping by just to make the house come together like a puzzle. I don't have money, but I have resources, people coming out of the neighborhood, helping out. With that being said, I eventually found out about grants in the community. So NEZ is a neighborhood enterprise zone. So if you're looking, researching, you might want to look in some of those NEZ neighborhoods. NEZ, I had no clue. Remember, you're talking about somebody that stumbled their way through life, right? So I stumbled my way through life, but I can stand before you now as a 30-year veteran, a licensed builder, a licensed broker, licensed insurance broker, and I've never punched a clock, so I've never worked for anyone. And so when people say FICA, I don't know who she is, I don't want to meet her, or whatever. Is it FICA? I don't even know. That's the people that take the money out your paycheck? Mm-hmm. Okay, see, I don't know who FICA is. However, I am blessed to stand here to be able to share with you guys a lot of the woes. I wrote a book. That book is entitled No Experience Necessary, The Secrets in Real Estate They Don't Want You to Know. How did that book come about? I spent $10,000 in personal development. What you guys are doing right now is a blessing. So y'all need to give it up to the people to make sure that you bring you guys together every month. Because in personal development, it costs. I had to pay Donald Trump University. I had to fly myself there, and I had to book my own rooms, and it still cost me $10,000 just to sit in a 3-day workshop. Not only that, if I wanted to go out and look at some of the deals, that was an additional $7,500 that I did not have. So I was one of those walking away with, once again, another it was so much stuff, they had put it in a little case with wheels on it. So for $10,000, it should have had some hydraulics and everything else. But anyway, I'm walking through the airport, and I'm thinking like, oh my God, what am I going to do with all of this knowledge? You know, it's 101 ways to buy real estate. Well, can somebody just teach me the first way to buy real estate? So I have all of this knowledge, and then I realized about a year later, there's a lot of more people out there like me that just don't understand real estate. So the book was No Experience Necessary, The Secrets that most people, when I got started, you had to pay for a listing. Like, why should you have to pay for a listing of properties that are available? So everything was the hush hush. Why? Because real estate is the quickest way to wealth. And so if you are a homeowner, and there's nothing wrong with being a homeowner, but if you are a homeowner, it's hard to see it as it's a headache. You got to fix this stuff. You're doing this. You're paying the note. You got to keep the taxes up. So you don't see the wealth building component attached to being a homeowner. However, when I learned that when it comes to real estate, to not have emotional ties, we get too emotional when it comes to real estate. This was my mama house. This was my daddy house. This was my so-and-so house. So now I'm attached to the house. When real estate was only intended for you to build equity and move on to the next best thing. So let's go back to that first dollar house. I was a product of my environment. My family lived in the house that they bought for 30 years. My other, family member lived in the house that they bought for 30 years, and I was going to do the same. I'm going to live in that house. I own it free and clear. I'm going to be there for 30 years. It was brick, beautiful, in the hood. So I'm going to be here, and all of us is in this little area together. So we're going to be there together. And I learned that concept about real estate. From there, what I mean that there's have no emotional ties, and in fact, it was my economics teacher, and it wasn't a black or white thing. It was a understanding how real estate was supposed to work. So he said, you people, meaning the ones that are the homeowners, don't understand the cost of doing business in real estate. You will buy a house and live in that property for 30 years and die in it. That was my story. That's all I saw. That was going to be me. He said, but an investor sees real estate as an opportunity. They're going to buy that property. They're going to stay there a couple years. They're going to sell that property for a profit. In fact, the money that you're spending on a monthly note, think about it. The money you're spending on a monthly note, by the time you sell that property, it's like you actually live for free. Did you ever think about that? You live for free because you're going to get all of that investment back plus the profit, which is out of the equity that you're going to make off of the property. So immediately I came home. I said, you know what? I'm going to sell this property. I have no emotional ties because now I get it. I'm starting to make it make sense. But in my mind, it's like, how am I going to afford this other property? And I got this house because it's easy to go back to that mentality of thinking lack, when real estate is the quickest way to wealth. So as I'm contemplating, I'm not sure how I'm going to do it. I realized that there's another term that I talk about in my book, and that is milk the cow, right? So not to say I'm a farmer, but I had to learn how to milk the cow. So milking the cow is a term. I think I kind of made that term up, but I like the term. So milk the cow is a term that what we call OPM, other people's money, and we will pull out a mortgage, tax-free mortgage. So before you sell a property, for the record, the property eventually appraised for $130,000, this dollar home, right? So let's do the math. $130,000, if I just jump out there, I sell that property, that's capital gains. So I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm still young, but I'm learning and I'm finding my way and navigating through this whole real estate thing. So I want to sell because I don't want to have emotional ties. I want to just move on. I'm going to take that $130,000 and then do what? So then I learned the term pull out a mortgage on that property. Pull out a refi or whatever you want to call it, a HELOC loan, which only stands for home equity line of credit, right? So I refi the property for $50,000. You don't have to pay taxes on that money when you pull it out on a refinance. So now I got $50,000. This is where milking the cow comes in at. So even if I was to sell that property, do the repairs, and do a write-off, I don't have to pay capital gains on $130,000 anymore. Because the $50,000 that I pulled out is technically going to be forgiven because I already got that money and I'm paying interest on that anyway. So that's $50,000 that I can go and do whatever I want to do with, right? The second thing to actually milk the cow, I could put it on a land contract, and then I can still milk the cow from that standpoint as well too. So there's a lot of different ways to milk the cow. But what I did, in my case, I took the $50,000, I took $25,000, I put down on a brand new house built from the ground up, because I'm getting this thing out. And I'm understanding the process of how the wealthy have continuously gotten wealthy. So in the process of me milking the cow, I learned OPM. That's taking somebody else's money and then having them pay my lifestyle, paying for where I live. So and then I learned another term, which is called positive cash flow. So please, y'all, some of you should be taking notes and writing it down. Positive cash flow was when I was able to pull $50,000 out. I now have a note of $400 a month on that $50,000. I put a tenant in there, and now I'm getting $900 a month for this property. So that's a $500 positive cash flow on top of OPM. What is OPM? They're paying the mortgage for me, right? I got them paying the mortgage. I got positive cash flow. I put $25,000 on a brand new construction. I took the other $25,000 and I went out and bought more property. With that. So I live a simple life. I have one house that pays my car note. I have one house that pays my mortgage note. I have one house that sends me on vacations. I have another house that, buys my clothes. So with that being said, I'm just creating a system of creating some extra positive cash flow. And then as I pick up another property, I'm refinancing, I'm pulling money out so I can go get more. Before I knew it, if you can do it once, you can do it multiple times over. Before I knew it, I had over 60 properties in my inventory. I probably had over hundreds of houses since that time, but before the market crash, about 60 properties just in understanding this process of just turning over OPM, milking the cow, and all of that stuff. So as we are more mature and seasoned, now what I would suggest to you guys before you can still do the same concept. I personally look at giving other people the opportunity to become homeowners and taking the stress off of being a landlord, okay? Taking the stress off of the evictions, having to put them out, them not paying their rent. Now, if you want to get into Section 8, even during the pandemic, Section 8 still paid, right? You still got your money if it was a Section 8 property. So win-win right there. However, if you want to create an opportunity where you're looking for some passive income, you definitely want to get with one of the programs that I have. You can reach me at LeneHarris.com. I think my information is on there. They put my cell phone number on there. I've had the same number for 30 years. I've been in the same location for over 20, so I'm pretty much stationary. I'm here.
How do you spell your first name?
Lanay, Harris, Harris, and for the sake of making it easier to pronounce, it's LA Nay, Lanay. So, but if you go to my website, it's LeneHarris.com. LeneHarris.com. So with that being said, now I have this inventory of properties. I have all of these tenants, and then I realized that as I even started, getting up in age or whatever, I realized that I wanted to be blessed to be a blessing, but I don't want that responsibility of being a landlord anymore. I want to, be able to create home ownerships. It's a big difference in a person's mentality when they know they can own a home. So what I started doing, I have silent investors, people that just want to invest financially, but they just want to receive residual income. I don't want the headache. I'm not doing repairs. What made me get my builder's license in 1999 is because I had too many properties and I got tired of contractors telling me the mechanism. What is a mechanism? That's just a made up word that you need to just keep funneling their pockets, right, because they're milking you. So I wanted to know what is a mechanism, and I found out that it's a made up word. So now I know what a soffit is, a drip edge, a kick, all of these different, the cold base and all of this stuff, because I am also a licensed builder, because I wanted to learn the language. I wanted to get more into real estate and how it was my life. It's my lifestyle now. It's what I do. So what we do is a program called Agreement for a Deed. So what I did was I contacted all of my tenants at the time. I said, listen, I want you to become a homeowner. I'm going to give you an opportunity. You're already paying in a rental fashion anyway. So if you continue to pay, let's just say when the market crashed, I went out and bought about 42 properties. The people that was from the auction. So back then, we all know you can get a property for $500, $1,000 in Wayne County, right, in the city of Detroit. So now I got this pool of properties. I got silent investors that are just pretty much funding and bankrolling the properties. And so we told everyone that was either already in the property or looking to become a homeowner, we have a agreement for deed program where you come in, you're buying that property. Now everyone can do this same thing. You come in, you pick up, you buy a property, and if I put you on a 5-year contract for $500 a month, that is $30,000. Technically, back then, you was only getting houses for $500. So, but let's just say you're doing $900 a month for 10 years. That's $108,000, right? So let's just use that example. So you're paying $900 for 10 years. That's almost $10,000 for a house you probably paid $40,000 for, right? So, and you put them on an agreement for deed. So what we do is we actually do the closings for you. We can set it up. We can screen the potential buyer as well. So they come in. We do a deed. Okay, Mark, you feeling me? Okay, we do a deed to that person, making them the homeowner, the responsible party, because we all know the city of Detroit, blight tickets, we know compliance, and all of these other things that you have going on now, that is a headache, is a racket for the city to just keep making all this extra money off of, and you don't even get a break as the investor. Your property taxes are even more too, right? So if I give you this property, you can get the tax exemption as a homeowner. You can get the grants and the benefits to fix it up. They have the no money down, no interest loans now for homeowners. They have the might have where you can get money to fix up your property. If you're in the NEZ, they have the grants. So when I learned that, I actually put that first dollar house person in a contract similar to that. And I say, listen, you're in the NEZ zone. She was able to get $25,000 to fix up the same house that I had already that was already appraised at $130,000. So just think, she was able to beautify it even more than what I had already done. And so going back to the agreement for deed program, that program, we simultaneously do a deeding it back to the company in case they default. So if you default, you're signing saying that I'm going to just record my deed, evict you back out, give you a 30-day notice, and I'm going to reset and start over with the next appreciative person that sees the opportunity of becoming a homeowner. Does that make sense? Huh? You didn't understand that part? So with a land contract, if I give you a land contract, you got to put money down, you got to make payments on it, and if you default, I got to give you 6 months to stay in my property while you're already not paying, okay? So that's a headache. If I give you an agreement for deed, and what's your name? Yvonne. Hey, Yvonne. So Yvonne, you have an opportunity to become a homeowner. You're going to pay me for 10 years, $900 a month. Are you okay with that? Okay, so I'm helping you become a homeowner because guess what? You may have some issues with your credit. Maybe during the market, when the market crashed, you lost one of your homes because it was foreclosed on, right? So right now you make the money, but you're struggling with somebody trusting in you again to become a homeowner. And you realize you've been paying rent for the last 10 years. So renting is not giving you a mindset of creating wealth for yourself and having something to leave to your kids, right? So here I am, a private investor. I'm willing to help you become a homeowner. I'm going to give you a deed to the property that I own. But in return, if you don't pay me every month on time, then you're going to sign it back over to me in case you default. I have to protect my interests.
Is it both names on the deed or just one person? Just the person that's looking.
Just Yvonne, you're the person that I'm doing business with. Your name is on the deed.
Sell that property?
You can't sell it until I'm paid off. I'm the bank. I'm your lender. I'm your mortgage company. So you can't do anything until it's sold.
Right.
I mean, until it's paid off. Just like you can't do anything if you go get a mortgage now. You can sell it and then pay the lender off and then get the difference, but you're not going to walk away. If you sell that property for $150,000 and you owe $100,000,
Okay, now I understand.
then you're going to walk away with the difference in equity. Okay? So until the lender is paid, I'm the lender. Until I'm paid, then we can go from there, right? So I do a simultaneous contract. All I do is hold that contract in escrow. I want to see you win. That's why I created the program. I want to see you become a homeowner so that we can, the communities are better off when we have more homeowners than we have a neighborhood of renters, right? And so if I can create and every neighborhood rent, don't get caught up on the neighborhood, because my house was in the hood. That same house over time, no matter where we go, even with a mortgage, we're paying somebody. So if I can start off with my first starter home in the hood, wherever it's at, and I eventually pay that house off in 10 years, people can see 10 years. They can see 15 because the average mortgage is 30 years, right? So these are just some of the other strategies that a lot of us are not privy to. When I first got started in real estate, I only knew one way, and that was being a landlord. And that's all we're really taught. And so there's lease options. I sandwich deals. So, and I love sandwiches, right? So a sandwich deal and it's just bringing a buyer and a seller together. Y'all call it wholesaling. Okay, it's sandwiching the deal. I'm sandwiching two people, bringing them together so I get to eat the sandwich because I'm going to benefit from the proceeds that comes from bringing these two people together. So we sandwich a lot of deals. Right? So you said a question first, and then you had a question.
It sounds like lease options. Is that what you mean?
Okay, so good question. He said, sounds like lease options. A lease option is tricky because a lease option benefits you, the seller. It benefits you because you can lease, and then you don't have to exercise your option. So now I'm stuck. I've had that happen to family members. They thought they were buying it under a lease option, and then they got a 30-day notice saying that I got a family member that needs to move back to Detroit, and so we're putting you out. Well, I thought I had a lease option. Yeah, I optioned my lease, and I don't want to option it to you now. So you can actually, that option is similar to a lease option, but the agreement for deed gives them immediate ownership. You get a deed immediately. A lease option, I'm still renting, and then you're still going to get the blight violations.
Are you owning the houses that you're doing the
owning them free and clear?
Okay, so you own the house free and clear, and then you're doing the agreement for deed on a house that you own free and clear.
Right, or I may be managing for some of my silent investors. So my silent investors, they're going to get a return on their money, typically about 25% of whatever they put in. So they're making money off of just being a silent investor. So they put in $10,000, they're going to get a check every month, either $500 a month or every 3 months, depending on how it's structured, without doing anything. Because even if the tenant doesn't pay, they're still getting paid. They have nothing to do with the headaches that we deal with, putting them out and then putting somebody else back in. So I had one building that I bought, and I ended up with that building back 3 times over because they will pay for a couple years, then I will reset, then they will pay for a couple years, and then they will reset. And so a lot of times, so I done made the money 3 times over off of this one building, right? And then the investor is already paid off, so now everything else is profit. Another one of the things that we do, because I'm a contractor, we have contractors that might come in and say, okay, Lene, what kind of deals you have that I can pick up? I say, well, I have a deal, this is sandwiching. I have a deal for this property you can pick up for $50,000, right? So they're doing an agreement for deed with me. They go in, so they come in just making payments. They're not they need the money to rehab the property. So they are coming in with a $50,000 agreement for deed, $500 a month for however many however many years, let's just say it's an 8-year contract. So then simultaneously, they will go and find a second person that is interested in that property. I do the deal. The person is paying me because I have to get my money up front. And then they say, okay, I want to do this deal for a 10-year contract with this person at $900 a month. I structure the deal. They have a 10-year contract. The person is under a 10-year contract at $900 a month. I pick up my $500. They pick up $400. They didn't even own the property. They brought the deal to me.
So they're subleasing it.
It's their contract. They're not subleasing. It's their contract, but they're sandwiching it. So it is they're bringing in a buyer, and then they found a buyer that's willing to pay them more. So then after, let's say my contract runs out at, let's say 7 years, I finally got my $50,000, right? Are you guys following that? I finally got my $50,000, and the remaining 3 years left on that contract, they're getting $900 a month. I'm done. I'm out of the picture. They're getting $900. The deed was in their name day one. The deed was in their name day one. If they default, the deed goes back to that person. I'm out of the deal now.
And then what if that person defaults and it goes back to you?
Correct.
Okay.
Absolutely. While I'm still in the deal, it's automatically going back to me.
Okay.
While I'm still in the deal, it's automatically going back to me. So it's a sandwich deal under an agreement for deed. Does that make sense for everybody? You had a question over there? You had a question?
No.
Okay. So you had a question.
I did. That sounds a little bit complex, but you also offer training and like.
I structure the deals. You come in. I have clients that have a lot of rental properties. They're up in age, but they don't want to give up that residual. So we actually help them with creating an agreement for deeds for either the people that's in the property or helping them find people that's in it. Like me personally, you know where you'll find me if I'm not at my office? On the beaches of the world. That's where you'll find me. On the beaches of the world. And my cousin could tell, or either down at the marina on my boat.
Yeah.
So once I learned that, the difference between now remember I said I never punched the clock, right? Meaning like work technically for someone, but I owned a business. But did I really own a business? Because I had to be there every day. So I really had a job. That's not a business. So when I learned that, do I really have a business or do I have a job? When I learned what a business really is, ask people with a real business. You'll find them on a golf course. You'll find them on vacations. You'll find them, that's a business when you don't have to be there every day. When I learned that concept, that's when I became a real business owner. I'm a business owner now because I don't have to be there every day. So when I'm in the office, Jamila is one of my secretaries. She can tell you I'm never really there. I can call in all the time, right? I check on you guys.
Check on us.
Right, exactly. And so, but we're doing a cruise. You're going on a cruise with us, so they have a great, amazing time. We're on the beaches of the world. I just came back from a cruise. I just came back from Paris. I'm all over. I'm in Dubai. I'm in Egypt. I am living the life of Riley because I know that's the whole purpose of wanting to do whatever it is you guys desire to do in real estate. One of the other things that I just kind of stumbled across during the pandemic, and that is I'm a licensed, you heard me say a licensed builder, a licensed broker, also a licensed insurance broker as well. So I understand the importance of having life insurance, but I never understood the importance of having life insurance to bankroll my real estate deals, right? I never knew that I can actually pull cash out of my life insurance policy and that money is still sitting there uninterrupted, tax-free, and I can borrow that money out without having to call, apply for a loan, guaranteed loan approvals, not predicated on my credit score, any of that. And I can bankroll my real estate deals, not have a payment on having to pay this money back at all. So if I pull out $100,000, I have no structured payments. God forbid, if something was to happen to me, it'll just come out of the death benefit, right? But the purpose of me doing real estate deals and then paying myself back, I'm replenishing my own line of credit. So I replenish that $100,000 back again. I can still keep taking from that policy over and over and over again for the rest of my life, for the rest of anybody that I'm associated with, kids, grandkids, whoever. And so this is the purpose of learning and sharing this information. So I learned it from the Rockefellers, right? So if you want to find out more about it, again, I have a book that I wrote. That book is called What is Infinite Banking? Because we never even heard of it. Most people have never even heard of infinite banking. Nelson Nash was the original founder of the book, Become Your Own Banker. And then you hear the Rockefellers talk about it in their book, What Would the Rockefellers Do? So when I learned that I can use my insurance to still bankroll my real estate deals, that's what really gave me the interest in like learning how to write these policies and structure these policies. And I also do that as well too. So I structure the policies. If you have money sitting around, people borrow out of their 401ks, their IRAs and all that stuff, great. If you have it, awesome. However, that money still has to be only used for a particular real estate deal. It's all structured, they're monetizing it, and all of this stuff is considered income later on. You're being taxed on it. If you don't pay it back, you're penalized. None of that is associated to infinite banking, right? Infinite meaning forever. Banking, you are your own banker. So these are some of the things that just understanding and learning as we, so when I first found out about it, of course I was in tears because I think about all of the millions that you go through. Yeah, you have it in assets and there's nothing wrong with that, but the Rockefellers was able to keep that money there uninterrupted, earning compounding. You all know what the rule of 72 really is. When your money is able to sit somewhere uninterrupted and double over time and you still have access to it as if you never touched it. So that's the power of real wealth. Real wealth, okay? So in the form of taking your real estate and creating real wealth, because even if you have a portfolio of a bunch of houses and you left them to your kids, there's no guarantee that they're going to pay the taxes, keep them up, and do all of the things that, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. But in infinite banking, that money can never be touched. It's going to always compound, and they have access to millions to go out and buy the real estate and whatever else that they want to do, right? That makes sense? Anybody? Okay. So one of the other things that I want to touch on in real estate, and that is, you guys be like,
question.
Okay, sure.
You mentioned that it can't be touched.
It can't.
How do you have access to it without it getting touched?
So when I say it can't be touched, two things. One is it is tax-free. It passed down to your heirs, and it is safe. If the market crash, anything like people 401ks, that money was taken. With infinite banking, insurance, that money is a safe. Like there's no loss provisions. That's one.
You're buying insurance policies? I'm sorry, I'm missing
On
the connection.
For the insurance policies to bankroll my real estate deals, yes, on myself. Insurance policies on myself or insurable interest, your kids or your employees.
So is the insurance your collateral that you're putting on the properties to leverage?
I'm using no, I don't need the insurance. I just pull the cash out at my leisure whenever I need. That money is in my account within 2 to 5 business days.
It's whole life insurance?
That money is right back in your account. It could be whole, it could be IULs. It's structuring it. So it's just the structure of the, so life insurance is just life insurance all by itself. That's all you have is life insurance. When it's structured right, you can then utilize that money to fund. They don't care what you need the money for. If I have cash accumulated money sitting in my policy, I can use it for anything, pull it out, for whatever reason, within 3 to 5 or 2 to 5 business days, it's right in my account, and I have no structured payments on having to pay this money back. If I never pay it back, it just comes out of the death benefit of that policy. So it's not decreasing your death benefit, by the way, as well either. It's not decreasing your death benefit. What it's doing is your death benefit increases as you put money in it. It's a banking concept. So as you put money in it, your death benefit increases, still keeping whatever you have as your death benefit safe for your family and loved ones. So hey sweetie, how are you? For those that are just getting here, we're just talking about using insurance policies as a vehicle for real estate deals. For free consultation, I will definitely show you how it's done. I am a wealth of information. I give this stuff out. I share it. Again, this is just information that we all hear about it. We all heard about it. You guys have heard a lot of people talk about taking your policies, putting in, like if you all own businesses, then, I mean, there's so many different strategies you can utilize those policies for. If you own a business, you don't pay taxes on it. It's just so many different ways to bake a cake, right? So those are just some of the strategies that I personally use for myself. So even my house note, my car note, everything, I'm recycling my bill money. I don't pay any bills. That money goes into my infinite bank account. That money sits there forever. I pull it back out and I'm paying off everything through that concept. Buying real estate deals, I'm paying off mortgages faster than ever before, so that when it's all said and done, I have true assets, true liquidity, right? Okay, so that's the key.
If I'm not mistaken,
And there's
this
nothing
money
wrong
draws
with
interest,
borrowing,
correct? So there's money in the account draws interest, correct?
Compounding interest. So it's a big difference from money in account. So the rule, like I said, your money doubles over time. So if I can let one penny double in 30 days, just think about this. This is infinite banking. One penny double in 15 days is what? Somebody just off the top of your head, give me a quick guess. One penny doubled in 15 days.
2
cents.
1 penny double.
In 15 days, just come on, give me a quick guess.
That's my math students. It was like 200,000 by the time the end of the month rolls around.
Okay, so 1 penny double in 15 days. Somebody real quick.
100,000?
Okay, 100,000. 1 penny double in 15 days is only $163.84. 1 penny doubled in 15 days is 164. However, 15 days later, the same penny, 15 days later, is 5.3 million. $68,709.12. 1 penny, the same penny, but it's not by happenstance that most of us traditionally have been getting checks every 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks, you've been breaking compound your entire life. You've been spending it as you get it, rationing out here, paying a little to DTE, paying a little to the water. Maybe you have enough to pay it all. It's still being rationed, right? So if I could put my money in an instrument that has been around for 200 years, okay? Infinite banking has been around for 200 years. The Rockefellers, think about this. They started this concept. Okay, so 200 years, Walmart, do the research. Walmart got caught with policies on all their employees, right? Remember, every time they take out a loan, they borrow against their employees, and then it wasn't illegal, it was unethical because they didn't even know they had policies on them. And it wasn't if they died, yes, Walmart benefits from the money. It was because they can now borrow against their policies when they want to take out. Now we're talking real estate. Walmart is in the business of commodities. Let's get to the real estate side. I'm gonna use Walmart as an example. Walmart is in the business of commodities, but we all know that Walmart builds on site. They build their own Walmarts, right? So what they do, they use their policies. They pull out $1 billion on all their employees, right? So now we got this $1 billion sitting here, and then we go build a Walmart. $1 billion is still sitting over here in the policy, uninterrupted, earning compounding interest, guaranteed no matter what. So that penny is now beyond $5.3 million because I never interrupted the penny. However, I got access to that $1 billion. So I go over here and I build my Walmart. It cost me $1 billion to build a Walmart. It takes me 3 years. I have no payments that I have to pay this money back. The money is still earning interest over time because it's sitting there, and most policies are 6% and up, depending on the company that you're with. So you're earning 6% on this money. So I go back over here, I build a Walmart. So now the Walmart is now completed. I sell the building to a REIT, right? Real Estate Investment Trust. That's what you guys are now. It's a group of people pooling their resources together, and you guys are considered a REIT. Typically, REITs are about 100 investors or more. So the REIT buys the Walmart. They lease it to Walmart for 99 years. So Walmart is now paying a note that they get to write off 100% of now, because if I own the building, I got to pay taxes, I got to do all of this stuff. So it's better, it makes more sense for us to sell it to the REIT. Then the REIT gives them the $1 billion. I go back over here and I pay the loan back off. I just replenish my own line of credit. You can do it with your own policy. You might not have $1 billion, but at least you got something. And now I just replenish my $1 billion to go do it again. Heck, by the time I get to that, it's probably at $1.5 billion now. So the money is still sitting there uninterrupted. I sell it to the REIT. They own it. I get 100% write-off. Now, also, when it comes to Walmart, how many of you, probably a lot of you guys didn't know that every time I ride past Walmart, I'm fascinated because they own nothing. When I say they own nothing, they own nothing. Everything that's in their stores, inventory and all, it is called POS. Okay, POS, pay on scan. So if you sell lettuce, you have to bring it from your warehouse. You have to store it in my store. And because I have traffic coming through my store, then that means that every time that lettuce is sold, you get paid. I'm not paying you up front. And then you're going to get it on a 30-day net, right? So you got to wait. And then if your lettuce goes bad, then you have to come in and replenish the lettuce. So you're going to pay for that lettuce, not me. So now it's pay on scan. It's a whole, and they making billions from, yeah, you can be a vendor and you can get your stuff in Walmart as well too. And you're gonna have to pay to stock those shelves. You're gonna have to pay to come and remove the items if they don't sell, whatever. So at the end of the day, it's just a system that was designed that we can just keep our money over here untouched. Does that make sense? Okay, so in real estate, we're doing the same thing. We're creating systems that keep our money untouched. So if I go get houses and I decide to do location rentals. So remember I said, we don't want to be landlords, right? Not everybody is not for everybody, especially our young people. We got a young guy back there. There's nothing wrong with, being a landlord and milking it for what you can get out of it. And then eventually that property, you can still do an agreement for deed later on. You got the energy, you got the time. But as we are more seasoned, we want to be on the beaches of the world. We want a business, not a job. Then there's other options. You can do location rental. Location rental is traveling nurses. People that come in and they pay, they'll pay $2,500 a month just to stay somewhere for 3 months. It's fully furnished. It's similar to Airbnb. You can have your house as a boarding, where you're renting out the rooms to veterans and people that just don't have enough money, but they're willing to pay $600 a room. There's other options that are out there. Does that make sense? Okay. Also, you can do, the insurance companies. When you have insurance, people have fires. They need to have a place to stay temporarily. So you have all kind of options. There's so many different ways to bake a cake. Always have a portfolio when it comes to real estate. Don't just do one thing. Have a portfolio of many different things that you do. You might have a few Section 8. You might have some Airbnbs. You may have some location rentals where you have traveling nurses. You might have some agreement for deeds. And then you got your flips. You got your you got your flips that you want to just flip some properties just to keep your money replenished, right? Does that make sense? Okay, so one of the other things in real estate and this is all in my book, The Secrets in Real Estate That They Don't Want You to Know. In the back of my book, I talk about the grants. Like, where is the money? People are not sharing this information. How can I get money to help me fix up my house? Okay, it's a loan called the 203K program that you can get through FHA, and FHA has a 203K program where they give you the money to buy the house and fix it up. Okay, to buy the house and fix it up through the 203K program. So you can, if you are a VA, they have programs where you don't even have to put money down. Here's the great thing about being a veteran. If you're 100% disability, you don't even have to pay property taxes on that property, right? So a lot of people, the great thing about being a VA is you can take your VA, buy a property, and then just sell like that so you can just take your time, buy one property, and you can sell that property to somebody else. It costs you nothing, you didn't put any money down, and then you buy that property and then you sell it to someone else, right? And then you just make a profit. So it costs you $150,000, you bought it with no money down, you turn around and you sell it for, even if you sold it for like 3 weeks later, $175,000, you still make $25,000. All VA loans are assumable. So you can just get them qualified for a mortgage and then slide right on to the next one. After you sell that property, you can go get you another VA, no money down again, and then you put somebody else in that property and then you sell it. So, because remember, I don't have emotional ties. You can stay in the same house for 30 years if you want to. I'm going to take that VA opportunity and we're going to be some working sisters, me and that VA. So my point is, because you're building wealth, it's the same thing Walmart does. They're building wealth off of everybody else. They don't own anything, not even the building, not even the products in the store. And we want to hold on to everything. And then we wonder why we stressed out. We wonder why it's just not working out. Then you don't get into it with one of your tenants, because they're going to tell you where you can go kiss off at. You be like, now you ready to bust out your own window. Like, we have more to lose when you allow anybody have that much more power over you, right? So it's about being smart. It's about not working hard, but working smart. It's about working smart and being able to really live that life that you are all destined for. Live the life that you all know that you deserve. And so if you can do it once, you can do it twice. If you can do it twice, you can do it 3 times. Find a system that works and then just keep working that system. So when I realized that I was enabling people, enable is great. Because enable means to uplift and support. I'm uplifting you and I'm supporting you. But we go over the scale, and now we are enablers, right? And so an enabler is you're really crippling that person. You're enabling them to really become independent and become successful. And in return, it's just a lot of grief over time. I know people that was in real estate, you can't pay them to get back in real estate. Well, when I was going through my divorce, we sold off everything. Literally, I felt naked. I was nude. I had never did anything else. So out of scarcity, I just went out, and before I knew it, I had 10 more properties. Out of the 60 that we had, I was like, oh my God, I'll never be this naked again, whatever, because how you do anything is how you do everything. And if you don't change how you do anything, it's going to be always how you do everything. So that means that you have to start looking at options that are going to still create the lifestyle. So when I flipped over I say, okay, I know I never want to be a landlord again, but I still need this residual income coming in. I still want this extra money, or I got to go work a real job. I never punched the clock. I don't know who FICA is, so I can't even see when people say, well, how do you do it? I say, well, how do you do it? You know, whatever, in the sense of just that 40-40-40 plan, the 40 hours a week for 40, you know what I'm saying, years of our life for 40% of our pay. That's it. And we stay on that treadmill, the 40-40-40 plan, and then when it's retirement time, it's like you just waiting on your pension check to come in, and it's still never enough to really make. And then you be like, you know, at this point you just tired because you just been on the treadmill for so long that there's no motivation there, you know. And so when I first got started with I always knew like what I'm doing right now is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm passionate about seeing other people win. So here I am. I'm like all these properties. And I see all of my friends still renting. I'm like, okay, I'm about to make all my friends homeowners. So I accomplished that. Secondly, I'm about to make them some money. So I started an investment club, which you guys can do too. So we took $50. This was before I had my builder's license, before I was even a real estate broker, any of that. You don't need a license to be an investor. You do not need a license to be an investor. You can start right now where you are with what you have, So I started my investment group. We put in $50 every 2 weeks because we didn't know any better. All we knew was $163 every 2 weeks. We had to ration it out too. We didn't know anything about compounding. So we took our $50 every 2 weeks. We put it in our little investment club. It was only 5 of us. We finally got up to everybody putting in like $500 a piece or whatever. We was able to put down on a property. Back then, you know, properties was a lot cheaper. We was able to go get a house. We went to Home Depot. We took the free workshops. We figured out how to do most of the sweat equity ourselves. This property was on Flanders, right off of Hayes. And so we painted and we did all that we can do on our own. And then we had to hire somebody to put in the furnace, the hot water tank and all that stuff. It was only 5 friends. And we ended up selling that property to my brother's girlfriend, and she was able to, you know, qualify for a mortgage. We got $50,000 out of that deal, and so out of everybody's $500 investment and sweat equity, everybody got $5,000. That was the most money that everybody ever had at that time out of that group of people or whatever, right? Now, mind you, I'm already probably 30 properties in, but out of the 5 people, only one, don't count me, but out of the 5, one other person other than myself actually continued to still do real estate. The other people, they took that $10,000 and said what they were going to do, and then eventually that money just went straight, you know, to the store, to the mall, to the whatever. Whatever happened, that's it. The money is gone. But for me, I can lead you to the water. I can't make you drink it, right? I can only talk. I can only share. Only what you do, you're going to understand it. So if you hear all of this information and you never apply it and you don't do anything, then it's the same concept. I just basically share a wealth of information, and I can't make anybody drink that water. Does that make sense? Yeah. Any other questions? I don't know how much time I have.
Oh, you got plenty of time. Can you tell them again, for those who came late, where they can get your real estate book?
Yes. So I am Lanay, LANAY LaNayHarris.com. So my book is online. It's in Audible, ebook, and the hard copy. So in the back of the book, there are grants in the back of my real estate book, no experience necessary, right? In the back of that book, I would not let anyone get me off the phone before I find out about these grants, because every year they have anniversary dates where they replenish a lot of this money. So when I do my agreement for deeds, I tell them about the home weatherization program. You're a homeowner now. I want you to get your house insulated. You can get a new furnace, you can get roofing, you can get windows, you can get all of that stuff through the weatherization program. Then if you have kids in your house under 6 years old, they will come out and give you windows, free windows through the lead base. If they you know what I'm saying, come out and test the property. So there's so many different programs that they may qualify for. And even if they didn't keep the property, let's say they defaulted, all it did was raise the property value for you. Not to say you don't want them to be homeowners, but that's an opportunity for you to help and assist people to become mentally prepared for wealth as well. Wealthy is a mindset, first of all. That's all wealthy is. It's just a mindset. You can have money and still have a poverty mindset. So wealth is a mindset. You have a question?
The 5 people that you were in a group with, did you have a written agreement, or what were the terms, and were the close people to you that you could
They were
trust?
family and friends. They were family and friends. And so nowadays, of course, I would probably, you know what I'm saying, do a written agreement. I ain't know no better back then. We was just putting our $50 in.
Where did the money go? Did it go to one account that everybody had access to?
I had an account that I had set up, and then they just put the money into that account.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just created the account, they put the money, and then I already was in the business, so it was just trust. They trusted me to know that I was gonna take their money. Even now, like I've been doing this for 30 years, I have investors now that bring me money, give me their checks, and then I'm the silent investor, and then I give them their money. I don't 1099 or any of that, because they can do what they wanna do with it. They just get their money back monthly or quarterly. And then once they're paid off, that's it. And now if they want to come back again with $10,000 or 20, whatever they decide to put in, and then it just reset. After they get their first money, then they can come back and redo it. All we're doing is taking that money and going out and locating properties that we can buy. So for example, you have the auction. Wayne County, we have an auction every September. And then if those properties don't sell, then it goes to October. Those properties are $500. They start at $500. Now the likelihood of getting a house of $500 now is slim to none, but that's the minimum bid. It starts at $500. So let's say I win that bid at $10,000. So I have my investors' money there. We take that property, and so let's say we end up with about 10 properties out of that auction or whatever, right? So we take that, those 10 properties, and then we start marketing to potential homeowners under our agreement for deed program. I'm strictly turnkey now. Turnkey means I don't touch it. So that means that typically I'm a contractor. So I deal with a lot of contractors. Y'all remember me saying that? So as a contractor, now if you want a little more for the property, yeah, go in and do a few little cosmetics or whatever, but I don't even touch them. So you need a furnace, I can send you to not Pookie and Ray Ray, but close to Pookie and Ray Ray, meaning that there's a little resale shop down the street or in Hamtramck. They sell used furnaces, they sell used hot water tanks, and you put a used furnace in, you put a used hot water tank, and then you have them get on the DTE protection plan. Right? DTE protection, the furnace go out, they fix it for free. And it's only costing them $13 a month to get on the DTE protection plan. And then if they get the green, whatever plan, if it goes out, they'll replace it or give them a $500 credit or something towards a new furnace, right? So that's what I mean by I don't even touch it. It's turnkey for me now. So with that being said, those are just some of the strategies that I use, and so my motto is this too: team, together, everyone achieves miracles. So in team, together, everyone achieves miracles. When you come into my office, I have a sign on my wall, and it basically says, "There's plenty of seats over there." Yeah. So when there go some, don't be scared of my cousin over there. He's sitting at the table by himself. Okay, so with that being said, meaning that there's so many different ways. I don't even know my point. I just lost my point on that one. But I forgot what I said.
When you come into your office,
it's teamwork. Thank you. Teamwork makes the dream work. That's it. So my whole point in this meeting today is the reason why you guys are here, the reason why they're streaming online, because they understand the power of team. Sometimes you have to get with like-minded people, find people in this room today or across, their network and partner up. And so scared money, y'all heard that all the time. It's true. It doesn't make money. Scared money does not make money. So if you have to pool your resources together, create an investment club, if you guys putting in $1,000, $500 or whatever, that's enough to, we call in real estate, we call it doors. So if you are a single person, you can buy a 4-family flat through the 203K program as your primary resident, and you got 4 doors. 4 doors. You live in one. You live in one rent-free, and then you got OPM, because all 3 of those people are paying your mortgage, and then you have positive cash flow too. So now you just learned how to milk the cow. You milking the cow, didn't even know you was milking the cow, right? That's what milking the cow is. You're milking the cow and didn't even know you was a farmer. So you have to learn these strategies. And I didn't say you had to be there and stay there. I thought that my dollar house, it was beautiful. Beautiful home. I'm gonna live there forever. I'm not going anywhere. Brick, 3-bedroom bungalow, right at the border of Grosse Pointe. I'm the neighborhood block captain. I'm gonna be there. I mean, beautiful home. Beautiful. The best yard, all of that stuff. Until I realized that I was just sitting on equity. And equity is nothing more than all of the money that I had in that property. I own that property free and clear, and I'm sitting on equity, and I don't understand that if I would have just pulled out a mortgage to go shopping and go on trips, then I would have had a note. That doesn't make sense, right? To just pull money out just to look good, just to floss. So remember I said wealth is a mindset, and I'm going to give you an example when it comes to mindset. So, for example, if you have money and your money is designed to go out and, buy nice things, or you want to go on a trip or whatever, technically, and I'm not being rude, I'm not being disrespectful, that's still a poverty mindset. Okay? It's still a poverty mindset. Money, and you can write this down because it's the truth, what I'm sharing right now. Money is a tool. Say it with me. Money is a tool. That's all money is. Money is a tool, and money was always intended to make you more money. That's it. Money is intended to make you more money. So now you go from poverty mindset to wealthy mindset. And how do you get there? Repetition. You have to constantly remind yourself, money is a tool. Money is a tool. Money is a tool. That's all money is. Because if you don't understand that, it's no different from linear pay. What is linear pay? All we've been taught. I exchange dollar for hours. Oh yeah, you might have a great job. You're still exchanging dollar for hours. You may be the CEO. You're still exchanging dollar for hours. Don't show up, Mr. CEO. Or do you want to be residual? I make money in my sleep. I make money on the beaches of the world. I make money wherever I'm at. And I be a lot of places. I make money wherever I am, and I be a lot of places. So when I learned that strategy from wanting to stay in that same house for 30 years, I immediately broke out of that mindset. And then I eventually had that next house was a brand new construction built from the ground up. And then I took that brand new construction, I sold that to my brother so he can live his dream, right? And then I went and bought a foreclosure property because I came in with equity. And then that property was worth over $400,000. And then I left that property. And then I moved to another property that's worth over $1 million. And so I have no emotional ties to these properties. I just understand I took a dollar house and I just kept moving. That's it. So now I'm grateful. Like, I'm not here boasting. It's just all real estate. Does that make sense? It's all real estate. I'm grateful. I can say I live on the island. Literally, I live on the island.
Yeah.
You know, I have boats, yachts, motorcycles, travel, timeshare, all of these different things that I can enjoy. And not to say too much is given, much is required. You still have the acrimony. You still have to deal with the people. You still have to deal, but I can deal with you a lot easier now. I love you, young lady. You are so beautiful, and I love that green. Do you, honey? Whatever you are looking for, but when I'm frustrated, linear pay, dollar for hours, everything pisses me off. I'm irritated. I'm short patient. It's just like I'm stressed out. It's just too much. It's too much when life was never intended to be hard. It was never intended to be hard. Now, it's hard if you say it's hard. That's the mindset again. Girl, this too much. Girl, this too. Whatever you say, you shall have, right? If you think you won, you won. If you think you haven't, you haven't. Either way, you're right. It doesn't matter. As a man thinks, then so is he. So if you thinking it, then that means that we got to get that stinking thinking together first. So let's start with the mindset. When you buy that book, that's the first thing first. Mindset, mindset, mindset. If I wake up every day, I don't want to be late, I don't want to be late, I'm going to be late. Because all I'm speaking is on what I don't want. I don't want them to take off with my money. I don't want them to rob me. I don't want them to do this. I don't want that. I done created my own fear. When we never was given fear, I just done created all of it. And so what you end up doing is paralyzing yourself, and you never really do anything. If that makes sense?
It's the law of attraction.
It's the law of attraction, yes. And so we have to start saying it in order to see whatever it is that we're looking for. You know, so I am successful. I am prosperous. I am whatever those things are. Seeing it before we see it in the physical. So once we see it in the physical, we actually can recognize that, oh, I deserve this. This is, you know, like I didn't expect anything less than, because that's what I saw. That's what I was looking for. You know, so even like for years, I used to always think that I wanted to own a bunch of apartment buildings, right? You know, people probably still had that Robert Kiyosaki dream. You know, they want to own a bunch of apartment buildings, whatever. But ask yourself, seriously, and that's fine if that's your choice, what do you really want? Do you even know? You might say you do, you might don't. I had to really look at my life. I had to really do a lot of soul searching, and then I realized I don't want to own a bunch of apartment buildings because I'm not looking. I can go get a management company and all that stuff, whatever. But when I realized that I had an opportunity to do what I'm doing now and just speak and share a lot of my experiences, I realized that I had a gift, and that gift is the gab. I got the gift of the gab. Right. And so I'm now taking my gift out to the world, but in the same time, I'm creating millionaires too, though. I'm creating the millionaires because what I want for me, I want for you and you and you and everybody else, because we all have so much to give. And we all have knowledge to give and different things. I learned a lot tonight just sharing with you guys on some of the things that you do. Because when it comes to a portfolio, I might not do everything that you do because I found my niche. I found what I like. But if I ask you right now, Yvonne, right? What do you want to do? Is it you want to be a landlord? You want to have Section 8? You want an apartment building? You want, Airbnbs? You want to buy and flip? Okay, what do you want to do?
To be a real estate investor, but more on the wholesale side. But I wasn't sure. I just told my best friend earlier today, I was like, I'm not interested in being a landlord.
Mm-hmm.
I realized that, it's like you said, do you want a job or a business?
Right.
And I said I would be too tied to that, and it's just the outcome. So what you're talking about, I need to buy that book.
Right. And so one of the things that I don't even really wear glasses unless I'm reading something. But one of the things that I realized too with that, did I want a job or did I want a business, when I finally figured it out, like what I really, really wanted to do, I had to learn from doing a lot of different things. So you might still want to get your feet wet in a lot of different experience, because guess what? You would never be a rocket scientist if you was not exposed to what a rocket scientist does. So now that you see, this is not that bad, I can actually do this. And so the reason why a lot of people think that they want to be a wholesaler is because they're looking for the easy way of just making money off of real estate, right? But wholesaling is a lot of work. Wholesaling is a lot of work. And so now, because I don't want to be a landlord and I can't really figure this wholesaling thing out, then it's going right back over here to linear pay. You jumping right back over there and you gonna 10 out of 10 stay there, because this is safe. This is safe over here. I don't know about this residual thing y'all talking about, because I stepped out there and it didn't work out. So I'm back over here again. You know, and so get your feet wet. Give yourself an opportunity, like you can manage. What if you have managing skills that you don't even know you actually have? You're doing it for them. You can manage properties and don't own nothing and still make millions from just managing other people's stuff. Nobody wants that headache, really. But managing it don't make it as bad, because it ain't your headache. So you can manage other people's properties, just making sure that the rent is collected, overseeing, you know, if all of my people I put on the agreement for, the ones that I put on the agreement for these, they get on the DT protection plan. If you are in other states, they have warranties that you can get, home ownership warranties that you can buy them for $600 a year. That's worth the investment. You get them on a home warranty, that'll cover their furnace, electrical, and all of that different stuff. We don't have but DTE covers furnace, hot water tank, stove, refrigerator, washer, dryer, microwave, and dishwasher. That's not bad.
Yep.
For $29 a month.
It's more like 80, baby.
Huh?
It's 80.
Say it again.
It's 80.
$80 for the additional stuff. $80 for the premium.
You can't get the money, but you can't get the money back from it if you don't have greenbacks.
The greenback, right? That's the additional. That's the highest one, $80, right?
But you gotta have greenbacks in order to get the money that you're speaking about towards your. If your furnace water is $750, your hot water tank, because I just did it in my rental property, and my tenant had it on her. I required my tenants.
How much this for? Because I thought it was $20 for a furnace and hot water tank.
The package we paid for is $80.
That's for everything.
Everything.
Okay.
So microwave, all everything you name, as well as.
And with the greenback.
And
that
is
cover.
more important, because if you don't have greenbacks, they're gonna just come out and fix it. If it's gone, they won't replace it with no money.
Right. That's still not bad.
It's not bad at all.
That is not bad, because you are protecting your investment, right? And that's just when I started, it was $13, but that was only for the. Huh?
I laugh when you said $13.
Yeah, when I first started, it was $13 for just furnace and hot water tank, and then $29 for furnace, hot water tank, and I think you got like another item. It probably was, I don't know, microwave, whatever. But you can contact DTE and find out.
The hot water tank too.
Huh?
They replaced the hot water tank.
Right. So whatever the cost is, with inflation, it's still worth the investment. Does that make sense? It's still worth the investment, because you're saving yourself on that time that you would have had to go and find somebody to do that. And so if you can do it once, you can do it twice. If you can do it twice, you can do it 3 times. And so that's the motivation here today, is to keep doing it. So I have clients that have built up a whole portfolio, and then they sell their portfolio. So you can do that and then just build up a portfolio and sell your whole portfolio to another investor with Section 8 tenants in it. And then let's say now you get $500,000, $1 million, or whatever for that whole portfolio. Take that $1 million and do it again, because you know how to do it now. And then you just live your life O'Reilly doing that. Well, how would you know if you don't put yourself in position to explore different things?
Are your properties just owned in Michigan, in Detroit?
all in Michigan. And then I'm a broker in Atlanta too now. But I'm a real estate broker, so I have agents under me now. So I actually train the agents so I'm an investor by trade initially. So I never had a real estate license, a broker's license, any of that. I had a bunch of houses. So my mindset is investing. So if you come as an agent with me, my mentality is you are an investor first. So you can chase leads, you can chase real estate deals, you can do all of that just to make the commission if you want to. I have no problem with that. But I'm going to teach you this game, for real. You're going to learn the game, and that is how to invest, how to have your own portfolio, how to make your own money. Because when I got my real estate license, it was only to be able to go in real comp and buy the properties and be the first one to get them before somebody else sees them. That was it. I didn't care about selling. I didn't even, the broker that I was up under, I said, listen, I got my own office downtown. I am not in this to go out and sell real estate. I'm letting you know who I am now. So if you okay with me having my license under you, I'm an investor. Before it was all said and done, she was coming to me, can you help me and show me how to start investing in some of these houses? Because all she was an agent. She thought like an agent. That's all real estate does. They teach you how to be an agent. They do not teach you how to be an investor, right? So you go and take a real estate course, and now you license up under somebody, and now they working. Because if you don't make that commission, you paying cap rates and everything else.
Well, how do you do this? Because I was online just the other day. I'm from Louisiana, and I was trying to figure out how to do this back home because the property there is just all over the place. So how do you transition that? Because when I was online, I couldn't find it. All I found was, even in the so-called foreclosure part, was which I don't think was the exact site. Overly priced houses, which the houses where I'm from are overly priced anyway.
Right.
And they're a piece of crap.
So thank you for that. That's a good example. So she asked, and she's from Louisiana. How do you do that? In real estate, remember, we're not intimidated anymore. We don't care if it's an overpriced house, right? So I have A1 credit. So I touched on everything. I'm like, you know what? I'm about to just build and establish homeowners with my credit. So in your case, let's say you don't have good credit, right? And you want to look for a property on a hard money lender type of thing, whatever, right? And so if you have good credit, you can actually use your credit to establish some of these deals. So in my case, I use my credit. So my first house, now again, we're talking about mine. I want to step outside of the hood. I want to use my good credit, and so I bought my first investment property in Lathrop Village. It was a bank-owned property. It was $170,000. I don't know the exact numbers right now, but let's say $170,000. And I had a friend that I rode motorcycles with or whatever, and her husband, she was a nurse and he worked at the plant, and they didn't have good credit. So they were looking to buy a home. I said, well, how much can you afford? She said, well, we can afford about $2,000 a month. So when I got the property was, I think, $1,700 or something like that. So now it's $1,700. I said, okay, I'll tell you what, I will give you this property for what it appraises for. Excuse me, I don't know what it's going to appraise for at the time because it needed some work. So I'll give you this property for what it appraises for, and then you just pay the mortgage for a year, and then we'll do, and then I'll sell you the property. So that was my thought process, right? So $170,000, the property ended up appraising for $245,000. So $245,000 from 170. Y'all do the math on that, right? So I want to make the difference. However, I'm blessed to be a blessing. I told her I'm going to still give you some equity. Y'all know what equity means, right? So equity is you're still going to have a little money. So instead of $245,000, which I could have got, but see, in real estate, it's not about being greedy either.
Right.
It's team. Together, everyone achieves miracles. Teamwork makes the dream work. And I knew that if I left equity, the deal would go a lot smoother too. I get my money and I could just keep it moving, because that's all money is. So money is what? A tool to be able to still be able to make power moves, right? So 230,000 was the bottom line that I ended up closing out with. So that left her what, 15,000 in equity. I'm still winning, right? Because I paid 170. I used my credit. I only had to put down, I think I put down like 18,000 or something like that, or whatever, out of the money that I had to put down on that loan. So of course I gotta wait to eventually get that back at some point. So I'm doing OPM. Remember OPM, right? I'm doing OPM. She's paying the note for me. I'm charging her $2,000 a month. It's $1,700. So I got OPM working for me, and what else?
Cash flow.
Positive cash flow. So I only got $300 extra coming in, but that's not bad. An extra $300 coming in until I could get my other what is that, 50-some thousand dollars a year later on the back end, right? So that's a strategy that you can use on just going in, doing some deals like that if you have the credit. If you don't have the credit, then you can do some hard money deals like that, you know, or you can find a land contract like that. So you're not limited to this like small, narrow-minded, you know what I'm saying, way of thinking. You can do a land contract. I got my first land contract deal. This guy literally taught me how to stay persistent. I just had given up. He owned the property, free and clear. I asked him could I buy the house. The house needed a lot of work, so I knew I wasn't going to be able to get a mortgage. He wasn't going to be able to get a mortgage. His mother had lived there for years and years. They was out in Warren. The property was on East Outer Drive. So I contacted the guy. He said, I will sell you the house on a land contract, cash buyout. I said, listen, I give you $10,000 and please let me pay you the money back over time. He says, no, you can do a land contract cash buyout. I was like, okay, so how do you do a land contract cash buyout? So now I'm learning, how do you do a land contract cash buyout? So he said there's lenders out there to do a land contract cash buyout. So call around. I call a lender. They say you need 6 months seasoning. Click. I call somebody else. They say you gotta have the property for a year. That's worse than the 6 month people. The man won't even give me a land contract for a month, not alone 6 months. So now then I got these other people telling me I gotta do a land contract for a year before you can actually do a land contract cash buyout. I was doing better with the 6 month people, so I feel like, okay, and I'm getting better, but I'm still not there yet. And I kept calling. I went back to the guy. I said, I don't know if you just got me on this goose chase. You just playing games. You just don't want me to have a house. He says, listen, I've been at this for years. I know that you can do a land contract. I'm like, well, that's old school, man. You don't know what you're talking about. They don't do that anymore. I'm just ready to give up. And he said, there, you can do a land contract cash buyout. So I said, okay, here we go again with this. I keep going through the yellow pages. Y'all know what the yellow pages is back now. Back then we had yellow pages, okay? So I'm going through the yellow pages. I'm calling up lenders. I'm not even motivated anymore at this point. Like now I understand the law of attraction. I attract everything I want. I manifest it. Even if it don't work out, I'm still claiming it. So with that being said, I call up and I asked the guy, just kind of discouraged, can you guys do land contract cash buyout? He was like, yeah, we do. I was like, this guy wants to sell me his property. I want to buy it. I don't have the, but I'm sure some equity in the property to do a land contract. He was like, well, send us the paperwork. Not only did I do a land contract cash buyout, I was able to pull money out of the deal all at the same time. From being persistent and believing that a way will be made out of no way. If you just believe that it's always ways, there's so many different ways. It's called creative financing, being creative. Okay, question?
What is a land contract buyout?
A land contract buyout is me selling my property to you, but I'm not willing to give you the property unless I get all of my cash up front.
Right.
So they just bought the whole system and you paid them?
They
Okay.
paid them. And then they put the lien on the property for me, and I was able to pull money out of the property because it appraised for more than what they were even asking for the property. So I was actually able to pull out more and didn't have any seasoning. Seasoning basically means that the property needs to be in your name for at least 6 months to a year before they will consider you the actual owner. I was able to do a land contract cash buyout in less than 30 days. So there's deals out there. Again, it's 101 ways to buy real estate. It really is. There's 101 ways to actually buy real estate. But if you don't allow yourself to create the portfolio, have a little bit of here and a little bit of, then you would never know what you really like, Yvonne. You'll never know what you really want to do. We are inundated with wholesaling, landlord, flip, Airbnb. That's all you know. It's 101 more of those, or 97 more of those. You know, it's so many different ways that you can acquire real estate, land. You know, even tax deeds. We are no longer a tax deed state. You can still buy tax liens. You can go to an auction, buy a lien on a property, and then when that homeowner comes back and pay that lien off, you get all your money back with interest. I think Texas was paying up to 50% at one time. Arizona was like, in my book, I share that information, all of the different rates that they give for each state. So each state has their own rate, but I also in my book give you the disclaimer, make sure you contact that state to see if they're still doing tax liens. Because when I was buying tax liens here in Michigan, when they stopped, we just drove over one city over. We drove right over to Indiana. And we started buying tax liens there. I used to take a busload of people to Indiana and buy tax liens over in Indiana when they were still doing it. Now everything is pretty much online. And so in Michigan, you used to, it was 25%, and you have bid up states and you have bid down states. So you bid it the interest rate down. So you sit in the room, and I can buy the lien on your house if you didn't pay your taxes, and then I will bid starting at 25%, and then you typically, the banks will be in there too, buying people tax liens, but after 10, they don't want to go under a 10 cap rate, so they still want to make 10% on their money. I'm buying tax liens at 7 and 8%. So I was winning all of the bids because I was willing to go down lower to, but I had already did the research too. A lot of the research is finding out if the homeowner is still living. If that homeowner is deceased, you're going to end up with the property for pennies on the dollar. So you can foreclose on these tax deeds and then foreclose and end up with the property, okay? For pennies on the dollar. So I was and that's with land, real estate. So if you come in, Yvonne, and you pay your taxes, okay, if you come in with the land and you pay your taxes, then I get all that money back. Depending on what I wanted at, I'll get that money back at 8%, 10%, or 25%. So I think that's my time. But if you have any last questions, my name again is Lene Harris. You can go to leneharris.com if you want more information on what is infinite banking. That information is also on leneharris.com. The book is on Audible and ebook and the hard copy book. And I do also free consultations where I can sit down with you, show you what your life policy will look. These are living policies that you can use to bankroll your lifestyle. Now, if you have health conditions, your license is not up to par or whatever, then there's a lot of ways to bake a cake. You can also do it on your insurable interest. Who is your insurable interest? Your kids, your grandchildren, and your employees, okay? So there's different ways that you can still own the policy. If you have a business partner, that's called a key man policy. You can actually bankroll your real estate deals through these policies. So every time you invest in real estate, that money is still there uninterrupted as if you never touched it. So that is my time. Thank you, guys.
Wait, before you wrap it up, just in case someone wants to follow you on social media, where can they find you?
I am Lene Harris 7 on Instagram, Lene Harris, name spelled out, the number 7. And also, I am Lene Harris on Facebook. So Lene Harris on Facebook. And my phone number, I've had the same number for the last 30 plus years, so I'm not running from you. It's 313-477-4910. If you call me now, it's gonna ring in my ear.
That's the one that was on your website?
My website
Is
is,
that the number that was on your website?
that's my office number.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yep, so
What's the name of the book again?
LA.
Your book.
The book is No Experience Necessary, The Secrets in Real Estate They Don't Want You to Know, and Infinite Banking is called What is Infinite Banking? What is Infinite Banking? So it gives you the whole breakdown what Infinite Banking is. So that book is on the site as well too.
Repeat your number.
313-477-4910, LeneHarris.com. So if you call me and you want a consultation, you probably do better texting me, and then I'll have my office, Jamila, contact you, and then she will set up an appointment for me to either meet with you on Zoom or in person. Zoom or in person. If you guys have groups and you guys want to do another Zoom session or something like that, I'm always available. This is what I do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, I just want to remind everyone that we always have our monthly meetings here, the third Tuesday of every month, 7 p.m., always free. For those of you watching the video on YouTube, you really, if you're local, you really want to come out because a big part of it is networking. All right, thank you very much.